Welcome to Sandra Torno Art. Today we're going to be working in my sketchbook. I'm going to be painting a rose floral bouquet with black and white monochrome acrylic painting. So follow along and let's get started. I'm using today folk art multi-surface licorice and wicker white paints along with folk art's floating medium, and I'm using an angle brush. Use any brushes that you see fit. Later on in here, I actually go to a smaller brush. The sketchbook is 5.5 by 5.5 square, and I'll link all the products that I'm using down below, or if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. The only time I use water is to clean my brush and get started. Then I get all the excess water off. I've got two colors, like I said, the black and the white, and the floating medium is what I use for water. Here I'm mixing a black, and the floating medium will make it more transparent. And what I want to do is just put some marks down, which would be behind the roses and flowers and leaves that I'm going to be painting. So you don't have any white showing, and it just gives it a better look and looks like it's a real thick bouquet. No rhyme or reason, just kind of putting it where I want the center of my bouquet to be. You don't want to use a whole lot of floating medium. It'll get real thinned out on your paint, but you want enough that your brush moves with the acrylic paint. When I go to start a new series of paints, I do rinse my brush, wipe it off very nicely. So what I'm doing here is putting white on the tip of my angle brush and black on the back side. And I'm going to use I'm using a foam paper plate, and I'm mixing those paints real well into the brush where I have two colors. You're going to get different colors of grays. We're going to use black, we're going to use white. So this is going to be a monochromatic painting with just those two colors. So here I'm going into my first rose. Of course, I want to put it on the black of the background, and I'm doing my backside petals with the white at the top and the grays mixing. Now you wouldn't want to use a solid black here, of course it wouldn't show, so that's why we use different mixtures of black and white to make our grays. Now if you make a mistake, you can go back over it. It's acrylic paint. Sometimes my whites aren't strong enough, so I do go back over it. You just have to find a happy medium with it. And then here I'm going to put the inside petal of the rose, and then start bringing in the inner petals along the top. And here is our second rose. It's more of a bud. I'm doing the small buds. Now one thing I do like to try to do is put them in a triangle of threes. It just looks more appealing to the eye. This is a small sketchbook painting, so sometimes it's kind of hard to do, but I still try to do it. This is a sketch. I love this monochromatic black and white paintings. I've done it several times. I did an 11 by 14 on watercolor paper. That painting sold. Then I did a 30-inch by 40-inch canvas, gallery wrapped canvas, which is currently at a show in Breckenridge Fine Art Gallery through the middle of October. It's just a fun thing to do because there's no right or wrong. You get to kind of lay it out as you go. I don't plan where I'm going to put things except for, like I said, the triangles. Here I'm also just putting in some white daisy type flowers, just some white marks, and I'm leaving the center of it blank at the moment. At the end here, I'll be putting the centers in. But they're just little ditzy flowers to fill in the bouquet. When it's all said and done with the white dots, some of it looks like baby's breath. You just want a variety of different things. I usually just choose two types of flowers, but you can put as many as you want. You can also do this in color. Honestly, I have not done it because I just love the monochromatic look. Here I also went to a smaller brush because my roses are smaller. It was kind of difficult to do with the larger angle brush. So this is more of a flat, very small brush. If your brush gets out of control where the colors are blending too much, you can do like I did there and just rinse off the brush with water, wipe the brush on a towel or a cloth, get all the water off and start again. I don't like to muddy up the colors. I like to keep the different tones of gray, excuse me, and black, well, excuse me, and black, and keep it as clean as I can. You can see where I put the black in the background. It just really helps fill the bouquet. It doesn't look like they're floating in the air with white in the background. It just kind of fills it up. And it gives us an area to put some dots at the end to make it look like small flowers or baby's breath in the background. Once this dries, you'll sometimes see your white looks like it just fades too lightly. And I just go with the white and just kind of hit it on the top edges a little bit to bring that back out. Here I'm going back in with some of the white flowers. And again, if you glance at this right now, you will see my triangles. On the left-hand side, if you look at three different flowers, they're in a triangle. And that's what I try to do throughout the bouquet. Here I'm going to turn my sketchbook a little bit. You can turn your painting, your sketchbook, any way you want. What I'm doing here is I'm starting on the leaves Again, I use the black and white, and I may speed this part up because I take my time with the leaves, just because I want them to be realistic, and there's no reason that you should sit here and watch me paint in each and every leaf. So I've got my leaves in, and now I'm starting on the sprigs of leaves, branches, and such. I want these to be darker to stand out a little bit more. I use quite a bit of the floating medium to give it a transparent, soft look. So I just go out in between the flowers and the leaves and go around the whole bouquet. And again, no rhyme or reason, just wanted to look centered, full. Sometimes I even add a little bit of more floating medium to make it look very faint, very light, like some are in the background, some are in the foreground. Just make it your own. Have fun with it. See how that turns real faint and almost like it's watercolor, but it's acrylic, of course. You can get the same look with water, but this is a mixed media sketchbook, so it can handle water pretty good, but there's no water today on this one. Again, turn your sketchbook around as you see fit so that you can reach and with ease on what you're trying to paint. I'm going to speed this part up just a little bit so you don't have to watch me paint all the twigs. So here I've got my twigs in, and what I'm going to do is take the white paint with a little bit of floating medium, but not much. Here on the right hand side I'm actually adding another flower. It looked kind of bare on that side. But then what I'm going to do, and I've got my really small flat brush, and I'm going to take the white paint and I'm going to start putting white dots inside the flowers and in the background to make it look like the center of the flowers, and then make it look like baby's breath within the bouquet. in a minute, I actually come in and put some black because the white was so white with the daisies or those type of flowers that I ended up putting black and then came in and put white again to make it more of a gray. Now this brush here, I use it a lot with my dots inside flowers or baby's breath, and it actually is a silicone pointed tip brush, which works great because I can wipe it off, I can get it real thin with the floating medium and just get very simplistic centers for flowers. And that's what I'm doing here. Now, of course, I'm not going to use any of the white in with the roses. They stand alone. But the daisy type flowers or the baby's breath, that's what I'm going to be doing here. So here I'm taking the silicone brush and I'm just making some squiggly lines to give it some character and some interest. Very thinned out with the floating medium, the black paint, and just making some curlicues all around the bouquet. We're just about done. This would be the last step that we do. And I want to thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like or a share or a share. And if you want to be notified of my next video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell and you'll be notified when my next video comes up. This was a very fun one for me. I love this concept. It doesn't take that long. Probably all in all, it took about 40 minutes to do in the 5.5 by 5.5 inch sketchbook. But with fast forwarding, it didn't come out that long. At the end, I'll show you the finished picture in the sketchbook of close-up of what it looked like. And again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. And if there's a medium that you're really liking or enjoying and would like to see me demonstrate some techniques that I use, let me know in the comments. I do watercolor, mixed media, charcoal, acrylic. I do everything but oils. I'm just not, I have enough on my plate with what I have and enough supplies for sure. And again, use what you have, but if you're interested in knowing what I used here, I'll leave them in the description. And I will also leave a link to my website. All of my current artwork that is available is listed there, and feel free to go check it out. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.